friend, if you are like me and you are suffering from boring basic pots that have no sparkle, then let's change that with today's very easy thrift flip. ASMR. Okay. Welcome to another Lazy Girl episode of Laugh Cry DIY. I am your host, Katie, and on this channel, we love DIYs, we love upcycles, we love thrifting. And in a recent thrifting video, I pointed out that jewelry is a really cool thing you can use to sass up your plants. I have seen a few versions of these really beautiful plant pot chains all over Pinterest, all over Etsy, and I showed you guys some examples, and you guys asked if I could show you a tutorial on how to do this. And the answer is, of course. So today we're gonna turn this basic boring pot into a bejeweled vision. Step 1, go to the thrift store, find yourself some jewelry. I came back with these, a beautiful, simple gold chain, and this beautiful piece of costume jewelry, which features like these dripping kind of jewels. I also got this generic long chain, which, surprise, spoiler, is actually a purse chain. Pro tip, when you're doing these, you need really long chains and you need a lot of them, and sometimes long purse chains can be a better buy. So enjoy that hot tip from me to you. Depending on your style, you might wanna do strands of pearls, you might wanna do kind of more like aggressive punk chains, but for me, I wanted something gold and kind of glamorous. Now, one note, you do need to get a pot and you need to get enough jewelry and like length of chain to be able to really kind of create a cool design. You might need to use more depending on how dramatic you want it to be or how big your pot is. You're also gonna need needle nose pliers and possibly something like jump rings or S-hooks or something to attach the individual pieces together. You also wanna notice the construction of the necklace. It's not gonna ruin my life, but I did realize too late that these little rings cannot be separated. They are all one piece. So make sure to pay attention to the construction of it. But as long as there are little rings on the end that you can open and close, you should be able to kind of weave together a cool pattern. Now for me, I wanna go for a very swaggy, dramatic pattern. Some of these, they only do one side and it does look a little bit like you just threw a necklace on a pot. So I think it is cool if you can make a 360 design all the way around. And I think it looks best if the design takes up a lot of real estate all over the pot. So for me, step 1, I'm gonna break these necklaces apart. Okay, so I kind of already had an image of what I wanted in my head, which is like a sort of double swag situation with some of those jewels hanging in between. And in looking at my supplies, I realized that I could basically break this into 4 swag sections. So I ended up breaking apart and arranging everything into 4-4-4 configurations. And now everything is laid out so I can see what I have to work with. Now, of course, depending on your design, depending on the supplies you have, you might mix things up. But I do think it's kind of easy to think of it in 4 sections, maybe 3. Also, because if you can measure the pot, which actually is, I'm gonna say 17 inches, divide that by 4, that is 4.25 inches. So first step, I'm gonna go around the edge and I'm going to mark out every 4.25 inches. Okay, next I'm gonna measure about how far I want it to swag down between those 2 points. And I'm gonna mark my end point with a little jump ring. Okay, so now that when I count this, I see that it is, 34 links long. You can also measure it if that's convenient. So now what I can do is I can measure out 4 34 link long sections. What a tongue twister. And actually, when I measure this out, I realize that it is 8 inches, so I can just add a jump ring every 8 inches. All right, now that I have my jump rings, I can add my second layer of swag chain in. However, I'm actually gonna add a second swag in right here because I want these jewels to hang down in between, if you can see the pattern. Now, at first I was gonna hook it right to the jump rings, but when I kind of tested this, I realized I actually want these to be a little bit lower on the side. So I think I'll hook it to the second chain below each jump ring. And that's just because my chain is slightly short, so I'm trying to maximize swag. Also, tweezers can help. And one note, guys, if you're gonna do this, make sure that your jump rings can actually fit through the individual chain links. Fortunately, I did have some extra smaller pieces, but that's an important thing to note. All right, here you can see we have our 4 sections and we have our little extra bit here. Now it's time to complete the circle. So I'm gonna take this off and join it to that side, if that makes sense. Now we have one beautiful complete piece. And obviously we need to hook it onto the planter. Now there are a few ways you could do this. You could get really tiny S hooks. You could get little earring hooks. You could use thrifted earrings or upcycled earrings for that. I am actually going to make my own little hooks out of what I have on hand, which is galvanized steel wire. And I will show you how I'm going to do that. So I'm gonna cut a length of wire and I'm gonna fold that in half. You can also adjust these to whatever height you want. If you need a longer hook or a shorter hook, then I'm gonna take my pot and I'm just going to fold this over the edge all the way down. And then you can see it creates this little hook that you can feed your piece through, and then it will hang. So we're gonna hook these and hang these on each side. Look at that. And I'm gonna use those same hooks to swag up the little top portion. And you can make these as long or as short as you like. And I know I'll go back and adjust some, but you can see we got the double swag. And lastly, we have our little jewels, and I'm going to hook those right onto that as well. Do you see? Now, obviously, you'll probably end up doing some finessing. You definitely want to make sure that the chains are all hanging the right way, the loops are all hanging the right way. I can already see I need to tweak some of this, but oh, it looks so pretty. You could do as many rows as you want. I also considered doing another drop in between. You can go as crazy as you want, but I think I'm out of supplies, so I'm probably just gonna do these. Also, because the wire and the jump hoops are silver, because that's all I had on hand, that cannot stand because everything else is gold, but I do fortunately have a little luster wax, which is like a rub and buff. So I am actually going to go in individually after this and individually rub and buff all of those items so they don't stand out as much. Oh, also, if your hooks are really flimsy compared to really heavy jewelry, you can also counterweight them. You can tape them on the inside, or you can wire something like a heavier bead on the inside so that it all lays nicely and it doesn't shift around. But I have to say, guys, that's it. I think we're done. I'm gonna zhuzh it a little bit, but I think you are finally ready for your beautiful, gorgeous, glamorous reveal. And that's it, guys. Emotionally, it looks hard. Physically, it's not that hard. Again, I recommend dividing into sections of 3 or 4. I also recommend flat laying and doing the design, tweaking it on the ground in front of you. And also, because those hooks are really easy to move and loop in and out of chains, it's really easy to use those to adjust around. That's how I originally came up with the idea. So I hope this was inspiring. And I have to say, I think this is my favorite thrift flip of the entire year so far. But as always, if you like DIY projects, I will link my playlist below. If you do a version of this in your own home, I would love to see a picture. I also have a newsletter you can sign up for if you like DIYs, decor, fun inspiration. It's just a fun roundup of tips and ideas and things that are inspiring me if you too want to get inspired. So until next time, have fun, get freaky with your DIYs. Also, guys, I thrifted this too late for the video, but look, I honestly have more chains and I might do a hanging thing. Should I do that? We'll see. All right, love ya, bye.